Today I'm going to speak on the topic of Lost Spring, The Stolen Childhood by Anees Jung from the prescribed MBOSE text for General English Class 12. Anees Jung was an Indian author, journalist, columnist for newspapers in India and abroad. She belongs to an aristocratic family of poets. She was born in Rourkela, Hyderabad in 1964. Her father, Nawab Host Yar Jung, was a renowned scholar and a poet who served as the Musahib or advisor to the last Nizam or Prince of Hyderabad. Her mother and brother were also noted Urdu poets. Her most famous work, Unveiling India in 1987, was a chronicle of the lives of women in India, especially noted for the depiction of Muslim women behind the parda. Lost Spring is an excerpt from her book by the same title. The stories of stolen childhood was based on factual occurrences faced by underprivileged children across India. She highlighted the pitiable plight of unfortunate children and focused on spreading social awareness about them. She raised her voice against social evils like child abuse and child labor. Spring season symbolizes childhood, which is often associated with positive energies such as vigor, vitality, enthusiasm, merriment, joy, and carefree life. Lost means something that has been missed out or unreachable or beyond reach. Therefore, lost spring refers to lost childhood, childhood deprived of all the liabilities, or childhood not lived accordingly. The extracted essay can be divided into two parts. It tells the story of two main characters from different backgrounds, yet suffering the common misery of deprived childhood, menial labor, and overladen with responsibilities due to unalterable abject poverty. Part 1 deals with the story of Saheb. Saheb belonged to the community of rag pickers, rag meaning discarded or dumped waste in the garbage, and pickers refers to the people who picks rag and make a living. Saheb's full name was Saheb-e-Alam, which means Lord of the Universe. If Saheb knows its meaning, he would have hard time believing it because it was completely contradictory to the type of profession he was into. Jung often comes across Saheb every morning scrounging for garbage. She asked him why he does that. He said that they have left their homes in Dhaka, which he couldn't remember. His mother told him that many storms have swept away their fields and homes in Dhaka. That is why they left their homes looking for gold. Gold here doesn't mean its literal meaning, but items of utility which they could use or sell to make a living. Sahab gladly said that sometimes he finds a rupee note and that is why he keeps searching for more. Besides, he has nothing else to do. Jung gleefully said, "Go to school," but soon realizes how shallow the advice might have sounded. Sahib replied, "There are no schools in the neighborhood. If they open one, he shall definitely attend one." Jung half-jokingly asked if he would attend if she started one. With a broad smile on his face, he said yes. After a few days, he asked if the school was ready. Jung felt embarrassed as she didn't really intend to open the school, but realizing that false promises like hers abound in every corner of his bleak world, simply replied that building schools takes a longer time. Saheb and his friends of barefooted army roams the street. They appears like the morning bird and disappears in the afternoon. Jung has become quite familiar with them. She asked one of the boy why he isn't wearing chappals. He replied his mother wouldn't bring them down from the shelf. To that, another boy who was wearing a mismatched shoes replied he would throw them away even if his mother does. When John commented on his mismatched shoes, he said nothing and shuffled his feet. Another boy, who has never owned a pair in his entire life, said he wanted to wear shoes. Jung has realized that walking barefoot, which she had seen common in India, is because of perpetual poverty. Since they are habituated to walking barefoot, they are more comfortable without shoes. And something that has been practiced for a long time eventually becomes a tradition. And walking barefoot among less privileged communities in India is a tradition. Jung remembers a story told by a man from Udupi. There was a boy, the son of a priest. He offers a prayer to the goddess every morning while going to school. He entreats with the goddess to bless him with a pair of shoes and promises the goddess never to lose them if at all they were granted. Jung visited the same place after 30 years. To her amazement, the priest's house at the backyard of the temple is now furnished with plastic chairs, and his boy now goes to school in uniform, wearing socks and shoes. The deity to whom the prayers were offered and adorned with flowers now lay unattended in a desolated temple. This hints us to the point that when man has nothing, God was his everything and offers prayer diligently. But when his prayers are granted, he turns his back on God. Well, this is only a deviation from the main plot. The point where Jung stresses is that with time, in certain communities, a development can be seen, like the temple boy who now wears a shoe, but many communities still walks barefoot and their economic condition remains unchanged. She visits the dwelling place of rag pickers uh, at the outskirts of Delhi in Simapuri. They are squatters. Squatter meaning people occupying a plot of land belonging to the government and living in the same without permits. They have come from Bangladesh in 1971. They do not have any identity, but they are satisfied because they have ration cards, which helps them buy uh, food at a cheaper price, and most importantly, it helps them enroll their name at on voters list, which makes them a citizen of India. They have left their homes in the green fields of Dhaka, which gave them no food grain, and they have migrated looking for means of survival. This shows that they are very practical people. Sahab has a dream of playing tennis, but he is satisfied watching others play. He has no intention of pursuing his dream. He was wearing a tennis shoes, which looks odd with his faded shirt and pants. In a manner of explanation, he told Jung that someone had given those shoes to him. Probably the actual case is that some rich boy might have discarded them for having holes in one of the pair, and obviously Saheb had picked them from the garbage. Saheb finally gives in to the economic pressure. He now works in a tea stall. He is paid 800 rupees a month and all his meals a day. When Jung asked if he was happy, he didn't reply. The carefree looks on his face have disappeared. The canister which he carries to the milk booth looks heavier than the plastic bag he used to carry over his shoulder so lightly. The canister and his freedom belongs to the owner of the tea stall, and Saheb is no longer his own master. Part 2 deals with another boy named Mukesh. He is different from Sahib and all the other children that suffers the same fate of misery. He has a dream of becoming a motor mechanic. He is determined and strong-willed. He is ready to go through whatever it may take in pursuing his dream. He belongs to the community of Bengal makers in Firozabad, the center of India's glass-blowing industry. His dream looms like a mirage amidst the streets of his town Firozabad, vague and uncertain. Every family in Firozabad is engaged in bangle making tradition for many generations. None of them knew that it is illegal to make the children work in glass furnaces with high temperature in dingy cells without air and light. If law was enforced, Mukesh and all the 20,000 other children could have been rescued from illegal labor they are trapped in. Mukesh gladly volunteers to take Jung to his house, which he said it is being rebuilt. They pass through stinking lanes choked with garbage. They live in small congested house with crumbled walls and doors made of heavy iron. They live in a very unhygienic manner in the close in the with animals in the close vicinity like in primitive era. When they reach home, uh, Jung found that Mukesh's family comprises of his father, his grandmother, his elder brother, and his elder brother's wife. His brother's wife is not much older, and when they reached home, they found his sister-in-law cooking for the family. And when Mukesh's father comes out to greet the visitor, she pulls down her veil and retreats behind the wall. It is customary for Indian women to cover their face at the presence of an elderly man. Mukesh's father hasn't achieved much in his life. First he tried earning by becoming a tailor, then till date he has been making bangles all his life. He couldn't even build a complete house for the family, nor could he support his son's education. His only satisfaction is that he had successfully passed on his skill of wielding glass to his sons. His grandmother, that is Mukesh's grandmother, accepted their skill as a God-given lineage. She saw her husband go blind when a dust from polishing glass bangles enters his eyes. Yet they continue the tradition because they have no other options, nor could they afford scientific methods of producing bangles, which might have been much safer and more productive. The entire family in every household of Firozabad is engaged in making glass bangles. Parents and children sit together in one room devoid of windows and slopes all day. And many children lose their eyesight even becoming an adult because of working in this miserable condition. Jung also visited another household. A young girl named Savita sits with her mother, skillfully crafting bangles. She is too young to understand the symbolic meaning of bangles she was making. Bangles represent suhag or marriage, but Savita is too young to understand its sanctity. Her mother says that all her life is devoted in making bangles. She couldn't even afford time investing enjoying her meal. She eats only for the sake of eating without realizing its taste. Her husband, an old man, says that all his life he had seen nothing but colorful bangles of all the seven colors of rainbow. There are bangles in the house and in every other house in the yard and in every other yards and streets of Firozabad. But working all his life on bangles, he had at least successfully built a house for his family, which many others have failed, including Mukesh's father. Uh, the cry of not having enough to do anything other than carrying the business of making bangles echoes from old to young people in Firozabad. Years of mind-numbing toil have killed all their initiative and ability to dream. Jung suggested them to form a cooperative so that they can sell the bangles directly in the market. They replied that it is not that they have pride, but system and law involved is such that they are not permitted to carry the trade other than manufacturing the bangles. They talk endlessly in spiral from poverty to apathy to greed and then to injustice. Listening to them, Jung have realized that there are two distinct worlds. One, a family caught in the web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste they are born in. Number two, the vicious circle of sahukars, middlemen, policemen, keepers of the law, the bureaucrats, and the politicians. All these factors are responsible for unchanging economic condition in Firozabad. They grew up believing that it is their destiny to practice their family tradition and to follow the system as a law-abiding citizens. Listening to them, to their desperation, Jung became desperate. But when she thought about Mukesh, she felt cheerful. Mukesh is a very determined young boy. He is determined to achieve his dream. He is ready to walk the distance and learn the art of repairing the cars and becoming a motor mechanic. And he also wanted to drive cars. And when Jung asked him if he also wishes to fly an aeroplane, which flies over Firozabad sometimes, he went silent. Then, staring at the ground, he murmurs. He seems content, content of dreaming about cars, which he sees every day. Uh, but flying an aeroplane is not even in his distant dream. It shows that Mukesh is a very practical boy. He dreams of things which are attainable or possible of achieving, but shudders to fancy at things which are imaginable for his standard, like flying an aeroplane. So, this is all for today. Thank you all.